Hello, everyone. There's a lot going on, so I'll get straight to the point. We are right now living in prophetic times, very critical times. And I want to talk about that because today is September the 2nd, 2015. And there's a lot going on that's supposed to happen in September. So hopefully you'll see this video in time enough to do something about all this. Prophecy. When it comes to prophecy, I would have to say that Jewish prophecy, which I'm more familiar with, but I'm not an expert at, and I noticed that all of your religions around the world, they have prophecies that basically point toward the same thing. Talking about Jewish prophecy, right now we are in the midst of a tetrad. A tetrad is 4 blood moons happening within the span of a very close time period. The tetrad that we're experiencing right now, we've already had 3, and we got another one coming up on September 15th. Now, these 4 moons, they indicate that something is about to happen. The last tetrads, 1967, Israel became a separate state, independent state. And then you have 1492, 93. Well, we all know about that. Columbus discovered America, but he really didn't discover America because the American Indians and Vikings were already here. But anyway, that cosmic configuration or celestial configuration was prominent during those events, and it's one coming up right now. And more interesting than that is that in the 24-month period, each of these blood moons has fallen on a Jewish holiday. So that's not coincidental. Now, what's coming is interesting because these prophecies are pointing to a time when something very unusual is going to happen, something that from a prophetic standpoint is prophecies from God. These prophecies have been talked about throughout the Old Testament and some in the New Testament. So everyone from Jesus' time, before that, and now after Jesus' time, and now knew that something was coming. Now, for those of you who have read the Bible, it says in Genesis that when God created the earth and everything therein, he created the heavens for signs and wonders. And basically what we're talking about is your religions through time, they have actually read and studied the stars from an astrological standpoint, and they have been able to track events over time and be very accurate. The Mayans tracked this time. I'm sure you guys remember the year 2012 when the world was supposed to come to an end. It was supposed to be an Armageddon. Armageddon is not a bad word, really. Armageddon means piercing the veil. But there is some Armageddon in-world-like activity coming, and that's another day. But anyway, the Mayans referred to this time, 2012, as the end of the earth, of the world. So some people took it to mean that the world was coming to an end through some catastrophic event. When in reality, the Mayans were only saying that the old earth has ended and the new earth is upon us. Basically, that we're talking about going from the age of Aquarius, we're actually going from the age of Pisces to going to the age of Aquarius. Some of you guys that are old enough to remember the fifth dimension, they did a song called The Dawning of the Age of Aquarius. So what is happening right now from a prophetic point of view, the earth is shifting from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. The earth is a multi-dimensional being. It exists in more than one dimension. That's a quantum issue. But we also are multi-dimensional beings. And we exist on several levels, spiritually, dimensionally. So we're all trying to elevate our consciousness and become more conscious in higher dimensions. So the earth is doing the same thing, and we are trying to do that as well. Now, what seems to back up these prophecies is the fact that there is a wave of multidimensional photonic, very high vibratory energy. It actually is already sweeping the earth. It's sweeping the whole solar system. Actually, the solar system is somewhat has revolved into this energy, but it doesn't matter who came to who. The bottom line is this energy is changing the level of vibration of the planet Earth and all the other planets in the solar system, as well as everything on the planet Earth, which means that we are going to be elevating our vibrations as well. This is a cosmic event, but the science is there. So what we have really science and prophecy saying the same thing. So, and what they are both saying is that the world as we know it is about to change. The Mayans are calling this time the golden age, the age of intellect, but more than that, it's a time when man and the earth's consciousness will be raised through a lifting of our vibrations. The higher we vibrate, the faster we vibrate, the more enlightened, the more aware we are. Even rocks vibrate. They are aware, but they're very dense, and they vibrate very slow. So you get my point. Everything is energy. Everything is one. The only difference is that the Creator manifests itself in different rates of vibration, intensities. Oh, I can't say that word. And what we have is the Creator experiencing new experiences through the different manifestations and creations within the one. Now that might sound kind of heavy, but it's not really that heavy. All I'm saying is that everything is one, but we perceive it as different things at different vibrations. So anyway, that's what's happening. So from an individual standpoint, you are going to start to feel the effects of this energy wave that's coming through. It's not going to be a one-time event like the rapture, where one day everybody, the good go, the bad stay. It's not even going to happen like that. Christians don't even know when the rapture is going to be here. But the Bible tells us that you may not know the day or the hour, but those who know him will know the season. And what I'm saying to you now, that the season that we are in is very critical. From the financial market standpoint, over the last 50 years, it's interesting that the financial markets crash on Shemitah years. And Shemitah year is a Jewish year. It comes out of a Jewish custom of working 7 days, and on the seventh day you rest. But here we're talking about years where each day is a year. So on that seventh year, they rest. That was a traditional thing. They rest on the seventh day, on the Sabbath. And isn't it interesting that these crashes happen on Shemitah years, which is a Jewish custom? But even though there may be some you can look at that from a prophetic standpoint. The bottom line is the reason the market crashes on Jewish Shemitah years is because the Jews control the money. That's just a matter of fact. And they pretty much control most of the world. That's a matter of fact. So on that Shemitah year, that year of rest, isn't it interesting that the stock market crashes? So today is September the 2nd, 2015, and this is a Shemitah year. Therefore, if history repeats itself, the stock market will crash. We will have a big one this year. So you need to look at that, because if you got big money somewhere, it's going to disappear. So you need to take a look at that and give some thought to what you want to do. Now, that last Shemitah year, 7 years ago when it crashed, it crashed, and people over the 7 years, they made a little money, but it's all in the game. It's just like playing poker. You win a little bit, or playing the lottery, you win a little bit, but in the end, you've lost more than you won. So I'm just trying to warn you about your money. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about is with this wave of energy coming through. It's elevating our vibrations, and it's making everything vibrate faster. So it's going to get to the point where we are going to start to manifest psychic abilities, clairvoyance, telepathy, all the things that come with raising your vibration and becoming more aware in the world. That's coming. That's called piercing the veil. That goes back to that Armageddon thing. And as we become lighter spiritually, as our vibrations get higher, which they will, we will begin to see all the things that the very, very rich and powerful in the world have lied to us about and have kept things from us. But they are living in a world, living a life that you have no idea of. It's just amazing. I bet you didn't know you could buy a used sub. Ever thought about that? Well, there are folk in the world that can buy a used sub, they can buy a crew to run it, and they can tell it to do what they want it to do. They can take a vacation in the sub. Bet you never even thought of that. And there's so much more. But bottom line is, we got some earth-changing events. This energy that's coming, it's all a part of the grand shift. And the earth is going to expel the negative, the most negative places and things on her. This energy coming through, the volcanoes going off, the earthquakes, all that stuff is related to the changing from one age to another. It's all related. Now, what's going to happen very soon, we're going to have the volcanoes going off. We're going to have the earthquakes. That's going to be happening, and you need to give some thought about what you're going to do if through earth changes you are cut off from the mainstream, or you are cut off from the store where you go and shop, or you can't get to work because with these earth changes, the surface of the earth has been disrupted, which means it may be that all the electricity goes out, or if you have volcanoes and whatnot, and you get stuck in a certain place and you can't get out. All this stuff is coming, and I mean it's right at our doorsteps. Now, I want to tell you this so you know I'm not joking. The Army recently they reopened that missile silo they had in Denver, Colorado. They had closed it down, but they opened it back up. And the reason they said that they opened it back up was because uh, in the mountain and so many miles deep, it was EMP proof. EMP proof. EMP stands for electromagnetic pulse. Now, what do they know that we don't? Where they are going in the mountain and underground. Something's up. Now, where would the EMP pulse come from? Well, over in the Middle East, there's a war going on over there. They're not dropping nuclear bombs, but they are fighting. It's a serious war over there. And you only see of it what the mainstream media wants you to see. And most of the time, that's pre-contrived. You cannot believe what you see on mainstream media. There is no way. But the point is, with all of these things coming right at you, and a lot of people are saying that September is going to be a major month for some serious issues going down. What you need to do, if you take me seriously, you need to stock up on your water. You need to go to the store and get bottled water. You need to get you some staples. You need to get whatever you need to maybe last, 2-3 weeks, something like that. Because if some event causes people to rush to the stores, you're going to be standing in line trying to get water. Because you have to understand, markets, they only carry enough. They rotate their stock every day. They don't have a lot of stuff in storage. That's not cost effective, and it takes up extra space. So they're constantly getting deliveries. When you see those tractor trailers running up down the road, that's your stuff going to the store. So imagine if the infrastructure, the major highways, were disrupted through natural disaster. Then that truck that's got U crops on the side of it, you know what I'm saying, or it's got martins on the side of it, or it's got Piggly Wiggly on the side of it. That truck is not going to be able to get to you, and they're going to be off in the truck stop, if they can get to a truck stop, trying to find a way to move the product. So if you can exercise some foresight based on what I'm telling you, then you might want to go to the store and stock up on some water, stock up on your staples. And another thing I bet you didn't realize, electromagnetic pulses, what they do, they disrupt electrical circuits. And you may not realize it, but you won't be able to start your car. You won't even be able to pump gas because the pump's not going to be on. You're not going to be able to do anything that requires the use of electricity until they get the grid back up. If it fries those lines you see running down the highway, internet gone. Internet gone. So imagine, what would you do with the internet gone? So you need to think about this stuff because it's right here, right now. And the other most important thing with an EMP pulse, now, there are weapons out there that shoot electromagnetic pulses. So that kind of stuff's going on. And then you can actually receive it. We receive EMP pulses from the sun from time to time. But the bottom line is, it doesn't matter where it comes from, you can see how that's going to affect you. Now, I'm going to give you a piece of really good information. You probably never would have thought of this. You need to go out and get you a bicycle. And some of you probably haven't ridden a bicycle in quite some time. But let me tell you why. Because if your car won't start, if your motorcycle won't start, if your moped won't start, how you going to get around? Better get you a bicycle. Now, For those of you who feel like you cannot ride on a bicycle for one reason or another, they make tricycles for grown-ups. You need to get one. Because if you don't, when that EMP pulse comes around, depending on what neighborhood you live in, the only people you're going to see moving around are the people riding their bikes to school or the crackheads in the community. They all got bikes, so they ain't worried about that. But my point is, you need to take me seriously, and you need to do these things. There's so much I would love to tell you, want to tell you, will tell you at some point in time. But right now, the most important thing is for you to prepare for what's coming. It's here. That energy is sweeping over us like waves that come in and out. It couldn't be an event, because if it was an event and all that energy hit us all at one time, it would destroy our physical bodies. So it comes in just like waves, it's nice and gentle waves. And as you start to vibrate at a faster rate, you'll start to notice changes around you. Now that some of you guys may have had aches and pains and blurry vision, high blood pressure, bones hurting a little more than normal. A lot of that's because the body has been adjusting to that change in energy. And basically what happened, we are changing from carbon-based beings to crystalline-based beings. In our DNA, there was an aspect of that DNA that was called junk DNA, because it was just sitting there, it wasn't doing anything. Well, guess what? That wave of multidimensional photonic energy is activating that junk DNA, and it's starting to turn out carbon-based DNA into crystalline-based DNA. That was an activation. That was part of the grand plan. And that is the science behind what's going on right now. Christians, this is the time of the rapture. This is what they were speaking of. But nobody's going to shoot up to the sky. Not all the good people are going to shoot to the sky and all the bad people are going to be left. It's not going to be like that. Basically, what will happen as this energy waves over us, we're all individuals and we vibrate at different rates. So as we start to elevate our vibrations, if you got a buddy that for whatever reason he's not elevating his stuff, he's just kind of staying at that vibration, well, as you elevate your vibration, you're going to move out of his life or her life. You got folk you go to work with every day, and they're vibrating at different rates, then you're not going to be there, because your vibration is going to take you away from a lower vibration situations. Now, everybody is going to shift from the third to the fifth dimension. I mean, the earth is shifting. We're on the earth. We're going with it. It's just like fleas on a dog. If the dog get wet, the flea's going to get wet too. So what we have to understand is people are going to be moving out of our lives. I know around where I live, people are moving, but when you look at who's moving, you're glad they're moving. But the bottom line is the more negative vibration type stuff is going to be separated, and we're going to evolve with the earth into the fifth dimension. This is what's happening. So take what I've said seriously. There's much more to talk about, but I'll give you this. The average man, individual, woman, whatever, middle class down, I guess, we are not living the life that we're supposed to live, because we are being controlled by the very, very rich, the very, very powerful. They look at us as chattel. And I'm telling you that that's true. Their only interest in us is to make money off of us so that they can have more money and more power. They are talking about trying to figure out ways to decrease the population. Right now, there's 7 billion people on the earth. This new world order, which they are trying to put forth, only wants around 500 million. Now, I have to ask you this. Where are those other 6.5 billion going? They want to have this in place by, I think, it's either 2020, 2035. Either way, for those of you, you think how old you're going to be in 2035. And that means at some point, and me too, all of us, we are being attacked by the people that are supposed to be protecting us. They are putting poisons in the water. They are putting fluoride in the water. Fluoride is not good for you. It calcifies the pineal gland. It makes your hair fall out. It makes your skin all messed up. But that's all right, because then they go out and create a whole industry to fix you, to fix what they did to you in the first place. So what are they doing? They're jeopardizing your health to make money. That's how they see you. Bet you didn't know that Wi-Fi waves, they just happen to come at you at the same wavelength as the human brain operates on. So they're doing mind control through Wi-Fi. So public Wi-Fi, they're emailing you now talking about you can get a real hotspot right in your home. They can send stuff through their stuff and get you with Wi-Fi. Bet you didn't know that. Kids being born all retarded and with attention deficit disorder, and people in their 40s suffering with dementia, that's because of the poisons they put in the vaccines that they give you. So, government is not your friend. I love the United States. Don't get me wrong. I just don't care much for the individuals that are running it. They are greedy and they do not want to share. Mother Earth is big enough for everybody if we share. But that's all right, because those individuals, the filthy rich, the people with all the secrets and all the money, this cosmic shift we're going through, that's karma for them. So I'm going to end that right there. And I'm going to I don't really make videos. I'm a very private person. But these are very critical times. And in order for me to live the life I understand, and I have this knowledge, I have to pass it on. That's my mission. I have to tell you what is what if you don't know for yourself. Now, the Pope being here this month, all that's part of a grand agenda. They want to develop a one world government, a one world military force. Pope coming here to meet with the United Nations, coming here to meet with Congress. Putin will be here. They come in here to put their heads together to implement this one world order. And believe me when I tell you, it is not in your best interest. It's a way for the rich and powerful to enjoy their existence more than they even have. Just greed, greed, greed. But it's not going to happen, because from a scientific standpoint, this wave is going to change how things go. And ultimately, we're going to end up with a new world order, but it's going to be a spiritual based new world order and not a slavery based new world order. And we have that to look forward to. But I want you to remember, whenever you have change, whenever you have two ideologies pulling in opposite directions, you got the old wanting to hold on to what they got, that's all the folk with the money and the power, and then you got us who are service to others, and we are moving into higher dimensions. You got us saying we are not going to deal with that anymore because we know better. Because now we see who you are and what you are doing, and we are leaving you. You got those struggles. So anytime you have change, you have chaos. And if you look at TV right now, there's a lot of chaos. You know, there's wars and it's rough. I know it looks rough out there. I will tell you this, that the people in the world are not racist. It's the individuals that are trying to control us through divide and conquer that want you to think there's a race issue out there. In my day-to-day travels, I have never had an individual make me feel like race was an issue for what I was trying to do. But they're trying to divide us and keep confusion going on because they're just looking for ways to dumb us down. They tell us on the TV that fluoride is good for you. Brush your teeth, brush your teeth. But it's not. If fluoride's good for you, why are they selling fluoride filters, home filters out there to keep the fluoride out of your house? That's because there are folk out there that know that it's not good for you. But there's a lot going on. But I will tell you this. The time has come for the average guy who's not one of the powerful elite that probably doesn't know what's going on because they look at television, they look at the news, and then they go to the movies. The movies and the TV shows, they program you because you don't dream and you don't imagine for yourself. They set your future by telling you how it's going to be through TV. That's another way they control us. That's another way they control us. So you have to understand that, and you have to get ready for this chaos because it's here and it's going to be here, but not too long from now. I'm talking in months. You're going to see things that they're going to amaze you, and you're going to think that you never had any idea that this could happen, or this is the way things were. So be diligent. Take my advice. If you're experiencing some things that are new and unusual in your personal life, then that's all a part of how things are changing. And just hunker down and just, if you're living a good life, if you're a positive person and you're trying to help others, then you just stay focused because you're just gonna vibrate right on out. And all these negative situations, earth changes, they're going to be changes, but Creator always takes care of business in a way that rewards those that do what they came to do. And these are prophetic times, and we are spiritual beings. We're here in this physical dimension because we chose to come here. We volunteered to come here and assist Mother Earth, Gaia, with her transition. But we didn't quite know that when you come into flesh, when you're in spirit, you see it all for what it is, and you know everything that you need to do. But what happens when you come into the physical world, you lose your memory of all that information you had while you were in spirit. So that's when you have to implement the principles of love, follow spiritual law, to remember what you knew that you lost when you came into the third dimension. But that was the grand experience, the grand experiment. The grand experiment was, could we be separated from the one, from our point of view anyway? That's the matrix that was created. Would you find your way back to the one? That was the experience. That was the experiment. And we did. Experiment is over. It's time for us to leave. The ground troops, that's who we are. We came here to get ready and help Earth move to the next vibration, the next density, the next dimension. And we did it. And that means, and I know you guys, you have to accept reincarnation. This is it. We don't have to come back here anymore. Now, you got a lot of folk that's going to be on the end of this wave because they vibrate so low. That's the folk, the greedy, powerful folk that's been using us for all these lifetimes. Well, they're going to be the last to come. That's been worked out. They're young souls. They chose this. They wanted the glamour and the glory. So, but the consequences are that they are going to spend a little more time in the lower vibrations so they can be purged of all that negative energy that they have acquired. But they have to go to the fifth dimension because the earth goes, we all go. I mean, that's just the way it is. So, I hope I have enlightened you a little bit. So, Christians, I just told you that these are the times of the rapture. But I got prophecy and I got science to back it up. These are the rapture times. The rapture is, that's the rapture. So, unfortunately, you did not learn this in church. Bet you there's a reason for that. And they're going to say I'm crazy. But the information that I'm giving you now, you weren't not gonna get it in church, weren't not gonna get it in school, and you weren't not gonna get it on the national news. If you believe what you see on the national news, you in for a rude awakening. So, find alternative media and verify what I have told you. And come to the conclusion yourself that these are prophetic times. It's an outstanding time to be on the earth if you really understand what's going on. And if you really have appreciated your journey. Because we're in the flesh, but it's just like a deep sea diver. He goes down so deep that when it's time to come up, he has to go up in little stages until he gets to the top. That's where we have been spiritually. We've been down so deep that it's taken a while for us to get back to the top. But this is the top. And we have to understand it for what it is. Be glorious. Be circumspect. Can't get that word sometimes. Be patient and be diligent. And be loving most of all. And remember that everything happens for a reason. There are no accidents. There is no luck. Everything that is is synchronized. So you are exactly where you're supposed to be at this time. The question is, wherever you are, have you figured out why you're there? And are you doing what you're there to do? That's it. There are no accidents. So the challenge might be that you have to relocate in order to stay alive. Well, if that's your challenge, if that's your issue, then you need to deal with it. So hopefully you guys will take me seriously. I'm really going to go this time. Take me seriously. Get to the grocery stores. Get some water. They got good deals on water out there. Get some water. Stock up on water. Stock up on your stuff. Get your bicycle. I know for many of y'all, that's going to be your biggest struggle, to go out and get a bicycle. But if you don't, and something disrupts all of the electricity, you're going to wish you had gotten a bicycle. So I will see you guys next time. I'm going to go into specifics on different things that are going on. And the whole purpose is to really wake you guys up. And some of it's going to seem far-fetched, but I'm telling you, if I said it, it's true, and you can verify it for yourself. And that's what you need to do. You need to wake up. We need to wake up. If you're already awake, then we need to combine our forces so we still have to wake our brothers and sisters up. Even if they're asleep, they're going to transcend. They're going to move to the fifth dimension. But the problem is, or really the deficiency is for them, is that because they are asleep, they really won't be comprehending all that they could with this new enlightenment that's coming, with this elevation of consciousness. So we got to wake them up, and that's our mission. We will be the light. We will shine. They will see. And what they do is up to them. But if they come to us, then we will show them what it is they need to do and assist them as they move forward. And I will see you guys soon.